Okay, normally when we do these Zoom videos, I will leave all the audio off or leave everybody muted so we don't have feedback. But I want us to be able to talk to each other throughout this. So I'm gonna unmute each one of you one at a time and make sure we don't have any feedback. And if we do, hopefully we can fix that and keep talking. And forgive me, I'm disappearing over here. Look at my arm. I'm disappearing on my background. That's hilarious. So pardon my technical difficulties. Hi, Jan.
Good afternoon, good evening.
How are you? We can't see
How do I get my video?
Huh?
How do I get the video on?
In the lower left corner, there's a thing to mute and to stop video. So you can click on that stop video icon and it'll start it up. You might have started it without it. It won't let you do it?
It's not.
Let me see here.
Let's see, fail to start video.
I'm gonna ask, it gives me the option to ask you to start the video.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. Okay, so you sound good. So I'm gonna go ahead and, so the other Gwen Witherspoon is actually Nicole. Because somebody is spoiled, they wanna be at my house. So Peyton.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, darling. Okay, good. No feedback from you. Okay, Michelle, you the last one.
Hello.
Hi, darling.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
Amazing. Okay, so so this is good. So no, we don't have any noise problems. So I'm just gonna keep everybody on the whole time. And I want you to know that, first of all, I want to welcome you. Thank you for signing up. And I want to congratulate you for really making a decision to invest in yourself, because that's the hardest thing to do when we got every other thing pulling on us, you know? And I want to make sure, I have a syllabus and kind of an outline of all the stuff I want to do. I'm a teacher at heart. So I love giving you assignments and all of that. But what I want to do is I want to make sure that we are really dealing with what you need. So though I have kind of a plan, it is flexible because I want to make sure we're addressing whatever your needs are. And so my expectation, I'm going to be fully engaged. And so my expectation is that you are fully engaged as well. And I hope that this hurts.
I'm already scared.
Right. I want you to be afraid. No, I hope it hurts only because if it hurts at least a little bit, we're making some progress and we're digging and I'm pushing you beyond what you would normally do by yourself. Because that's the whole point of having a coach and having somebody work with you. You know, you can do it yourself, you can do it, I can do it with you, or I can do it for you. And of course, doing it for you is the most expensive option. But then there's some things that I can't do for you at all. And this personal stuff I can't do for you. I can't dig in what's in your heart and determine what God has ordained for you. I can't do that for you, but I can certainly lead you down a path to try to help you figure out what that is. Now, Jan, so it's hurting my soul that we can't get your picture up.
I'm trying.
Let's see.
I'm so trying.
You know what? Why don't you, you know, if all else fails, I always Google. So Google something like can't start Zoom video or something like that and see if we get it.
I think it might be in my settings.
Yeah, let's do something like that. Anyway, so first of all, I want everybody to introduce themselves. So we're gonna start with you, Michelle. I want you to introduce yourself. Tell us what your business is, how you got started, and what you want to get out of the class. Okay.
My name is Michelle Lewis, and the business that I have is Tapmore Photo Booth. It's a photo booth. Of course, it's a photo booth business, and I started maybe about like a year and a half, 2 years ago. I work full time, and I do this on the. I do mostly on the weekend, because that's mostly when you want a photo booth is when to parties, and most of the time the parties on the weekends and stuff like that. And what I'm gonna get out of, what I want out of it, that's what you,
yes,
that
honey.
what you said, Gwen?
Yes.
what I want, my reason I signed, one of the major reasons I signed up and I'm having a problem with is the name of my company is Tap More. And when I created the name, it was like Tap More Creations, Tap More Fun, Tap More Memories, Tap More. So you tap more. But as I talking to some branding individual companies and people, nobody hardly gets to tap more. And so after being in business, for the length of time on there, I want to work with my name because 95 or 96% of my clients are females. And when I went into the business, thinking my biggest market would be weddings. And it's not. My biggest market is sweet 16 parties. And then, like I said, my clients is females. So I want to make sure that I want to work on my branding, where my branding is across all of my services, with social media, website, and all. I want to decide on a name that represent my company. And then I want to make sure I'm targeting the right individuals, for my services. So helping with my name, and I want to walk away to say, hey, this here is my name, this is my brand, it represents my company, and it represents me.
Okay. Awesome. Now, what do you do full time?
I work with Lockheed Martin, so I'm electrical engineer.
Fancy. I have a friend that used to work on Air Force jets.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say had somebody work at Lockheed, because most of the time someone knows somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Peyton.
Hi, my name is Peyton Wright, and I'm starting a home-based baking business, and my focus or key thing about that is that I have a mill, and I mill my flour fresh. And that's one of the key things I want to focus on. So just establishing the business, knowing how to present products and promote myself. And I have a full-time job right now, which is my investment or investor for my dream. And that's as a front office administrator in a dental office, which I've been at it'll be 32 years on January the 18th. So it's time for me to step out.
32 years, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have known you that long, Lord.
Nope. I was in middle school when I started.
That was it. Okay. So that's what you want to get out, how to promote effectively. Ms. Peyton?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want to get out of it, how to promote?
Yes, that is. And
okay. Awesome. All right. Miss Nicole, aka Gwen Witherspoon too. Can you hear me okay? I can hear you. Can everybody else hear you?
Just a little low.
Hello, hello, hello. She's trying to act like she died.
It'd be nice if we had a picture.
Yeah, it would be nice. Somebody needs to go ahead and turn the video on.
Yeah. I've got my snuggly. Hi.
How are you guys? Can you hear me?
It's a little low, but yes.
Can you hear me better now? Uh-oh.
Is it because she's in here?
Maybe.
I can join the audio, but that might actually mess us up.
Right.
So, okay, it's okay. I'll talk louder. So my name is Nicole Jones, and I have currently, I have a business. It's Repair My Scores with 3 partners. The reason why I joined the class is I want to get more into branding myself.
All right. I think we gotta, Jan, you probably gotta close out that other one. Yep. There we go. That's it. Go ahead.
Okay. Because as I've been doing the credit, repair, I'm understanding now that I have more of a passion for the education piece, as well as kind of venturing out. I need to get my thoughts together because everything is kind of all over the place for me. So I know the main focus or the main thing that I hope to get out is just to be able to find out how to articulate what's in my head onto paper, as well as put it into a place where it will be helpful as well as lucrative. Because I feel like doing the credit repair, it kind of limits me, but I believe that what I'm supposed to be doing, it expands further than that.
Now, how long have you been doing the repair, the credit repair?
I've been doing credit repair for a little over 5 years. I've been doing it as our own business. We'll be a year old in March.
Now you're saying you have partners?
I have 3 partners.
Okay. Miss Jan.
Hello.
Hello, darling.
Can you see me now?
We can. Yay!
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 Nice to see y'all again.
Hey, Jan.
Hey, Peyton. I think that was you.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm Jan. I have a special niche business, conceal carry clothing, that I'm designing and having made in New York. And I am all up in my head and wearing every single hat in the business and need to get it out of my head on paper, get a roadmap, a plan, and implement it. I've not been an entrepreneur in my life. I've always worked for somebody else, but so learning the manufacturing business, learning the whole business aspect, learning all of the social networking and website stuff, it's all very overwhelming. So that's it in a nutshell.
So how do the rest of you feel about social media?
Not that excited about being on a regular basis.
I guess this is Michelle. I agree with Jan. It's a little bit overwhelming to wear so many different hats. I mean, I don't know. It's just hard for me to keep that up, to keep the finance part up, looking for leads, to keep that up, and doing the work in the business. It's just a lot to do. Somebody was talking to me today about doing posts, and I I just don't have time to do all of that too. So it's a lot.
Right.
It's a lot to it.
Now, when you try to write posts, how do you feel about that? Is that difficult, or is it just you just don't have time, or are you intimidated by writing posts themselves?
I look both.
What about you, Miss Nicole?
I don't know if it's intimidation. I've just never really been one to be in social media. So, like, there was a season where I would kind of post different things, inspirational, whatever was kind of laid on my heart to do. But other than that, I really am not into social media.
So, do you feel like it's a good business tool?
I do feel like it's a good business tool. I think that it's hard for me to get into it only because I don't really know much about it. So.
And do you have a mailing list, Nicole? Email list?
I know we do as a company, yes.
How many people?
That I don't know because I'm not the one who sends out the emails.
Okay. What about you, Michelle? How big of an email list do you have?
I haven't gotten started on that. I mean, I do have some contacts, but I tried one time to get started on, what is it?
MailChimp.
MailChimp. And then I just got overwhelmed with the process. You know, I have names, and when I go places, I get business cards and stuff like that, but I really need to put it all together.
And Peyton, I know about yours, but so
Oh, good, because I was trying to look it up.
well, I don't know how many you have, but I know you have one. You can tell everybody. So Peyton and I have been working together for years now. So I pretty much know all her business, but I want y'all to get to know her as well. So tell them about your love for MailChimp.
It's a love disdain relationship. How about that?
So what's disdainful about it?
It's just when when I'm putting a campaign together, it can just be challenging to go in and maybe not so much create it, but scheduling. Well, they're just different parts of it that kind of I'm still challenged with. So, but I will make the effort. It may take me a while to get it together, but I just really need to learn more about it.
Well, so what I want you all to understand through this, it is overwhelming to everyone. First and foremost, you have to understand that. So I don't want you don't need to feel like it's especially difficult for you, because it is a ridiculous amount of work for any one person to do, no matter what. And there are 28.8 million businesses in the U.S. and about 85 to 90% of those are considered small. And small is $500,000 or less, and most of those only have one employee, and they're not making anywhere close to $500,000. So you're in the majority, right, of all the businesses in the country, of the business owners, and all of us are trying to run an entire business all by ourselves on little or no revenue, to start with. So that is the position that everybody is in. And what I want to help you do is, so let me back up. So one of the things about posting in social media, figuring out who your audience is, sending out emails, all of those things, the thing that makes that difficult is you got to know who you are first, right? You have to know who you are. And from a business standpoint, you have to know who you are, what you're trying to accomplish, and what you have to offer. And most of us will decide. So like Michelle, you have a very specific thing that you do. You rent photo booths. So that's a very specific thing. So logically, if you got some people that are doing parties and you let them know you have a photo booth, you can get them to rent from you. But if you want to build something that's sustainable, build something that's going to grow, build something that's going to generate revenue, that's going to sustain your lifestyle, then you got to think about it from a different perspective. And so with the Vivid Branding course, I was explaining to Nicole, I said, I really have a 5-month program, but I thought, let me just start with these first 2 months. And my original idea, which was to help you write your vision. So writing your vision, you first have to write it on your heart. Like, you've got to define what is going on in your heart. Then you've got to write it on paper. And then you have to be able to write it on the minds of other people. That's how they start to recognize that you have something that they need. But, and so in our digital age, we have what we call the inbound marketing model. Have you guys heard of that? Inbound marketing model? Nope.
Heard of it.
So the inbound marketing model was created by a company called HubSpot, I think. And you may have heard of their CRM. But if you Google inbound marketing model, like inbound marketing model images, you'll see all kind of graphics that every marketing company has created. And so really the inbound marketing model is basically more of a modern marketing model. Outbound marketing is really more of a traditional model, meaning I'm going to put information out and expect and to try to attract people instead of trying to get people to come to me. Does that make sense? So inbound is I'm trying to get customers to come to me. And so because we're using the internet and we're in this digital age, that is the predominant method for marketing now, as opposed to the traditional radio, television, newspaper. You know, it used to be that if you wanted to be like, you wanted them to write an article about you in the newspaper, you would do a press release and you would, you know, write that and send it out. And I think Michelle and you and I talked about that you send that press release out, and if the editor likes it, then they'll write that, they'll, you know, put your story and write a story about you in that newspaper. Well, they still have press releases, but now it's more likely that somebody's going to Google your name, Google your company, research you, research other people before they even start to make a decision, before they even reach out to you. And if they Google your name and there's nothing out there about you, they're not going to find you, right? So I really figured out that not only I feel like one of the biggest challenges for every entrepreneur is writing their vision, because the Bible says that it says, write the vision and make it plain, right? And we've all heard it 1,000 times. But really, God showed me that writing the vision is not something that happens just because you write down one time, like you write down your idea or you write in your journal. Just doing that by itself does not make your vision plain. And so that's how I got the Vivid model, is that we want to make your vision vivid, right? We want to make it in Technicolor, because if you have a big, like a dream out there on the horizon, it's out of focus, right? And as you get closer to it and it gets clearer, more vivid, then you can understand it better, right? So what we have to do is we got to define what that vision is. Now, one of the challenges I've also seen is that a lot of us don't have a big enough vision, or we really don't have a vision at all, because if you say, okay, well, I want to make this widget, like you're going to make this one outfit, right? Or this one concealed garment. You make that one garment, and if it's just your goal to make the garment, that's not enough. That's not a vision. That's just a goal, right? But you need something bigger than that drives why you're actually creating those garments, right? And I think most of us we just don't think big enough to start. And years ago, I went to a conference with, and there was a woman there who had a program called Make Mine a Million. And her goal was to help women build $1 million businesses. And she said one of her biggest challenges was finding women who had a vision to have $1 million business. Right? Right? So I think one of the things we do is we don't start big enough, right? And we don't plan thoroughly enough. But then I have found that when I've tried to do that for myself, I would get intimidated along the way. You writing a business plan, most of us don't really know how to do that. And then even if you get a template or you get somebody to help you, answering the questions that you have to answer to write a business plan also can be really intimidating. And so what I would do is every time I come up to a question that I couldn't answer, I would just stop. And then I would just focus on the stuff I knew how to do. So does that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you just, it's like, well, I know how to, well, like you know how to mill the flour. So then it's like, when you just focus on making more recipes, right? But making the recipes by themselves is not going to, once you get the recipes, you got to figure out how to sell it, right? You got to figure out how you're going to sell it, market it, like all the things that we all discussed. So what I realized was, one, I needed to help entrepreneurs figure out how to write their vision. And then the other piece was I needed to help you understand the inbound marketing model. Now, I think neither one of those topics are very sexy. Like, I think that sounds like as exciting as watching paint dry. Like, I was like, wait, how do I make that exciting? When I know that's what I have to say, and I know that's what we need, because I've been going through this myself for 30 years, right? And so I wanted to show you, I have a website called Vivid Content Lab. And so I'm committing in front of all of y'all that in 2019, I'm going to build content and courses on this platform because it's been here and available for a couple of years now, which is really sad. But I haven't added my courses yet. And then also though, you all will have an opportunity at the end of this if you want to, or if it makes sense for you to add your courses to this platform as well. Because the goal is to offer entrepreneurs training on how they can help build their businesses with more than anything, how they can develop their own content. And I know Jan and Peyton and Nicole, we were all at MobileCon. And at MobileCon, did y'all hear the same thing I heard? Because there was 48 speakers and over and over and over and over, all they talked about was developing content. Was I the only one who heard that?
No, you were not.
So
Speak up, Nicole, Jan.
Nicole, Jan.
I didn't want to hear it.
Well, but the reason that they talked about developing content is because we are living in the inbound marketing era.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to have your own content. You have to, like, we used to have to try to get the major news organizations, the television, the radio, the newspapers, we had to try to get them to make us, like, to promote us and make us famous. Now we have the tools to make ourselves famous, right? I can set myself up as an expert. I don't have to wait for them to find me, right? So somehow we have to all figure out how to kind of master that whole process. But I wanted to show you, I'm gonna walk you, okay, so this is funny. Peyton knows this about me, and Nicole might know this about me too. I think that God deals with me in charts.
That God what?
God deals with me in charts. So charts, they can't be ugly though. Like, it has to be a really pretty chart, and it has to be really thought out and organized, right? So what I wanted to do just to start is to kind of show you the things that the course is based on and the things that I'm going to be walking you through and introducing you to. So don't get intimidated or nothing, because I feel like the other thing is God deals with me in charts because I believe I also have a gift to kind of simplify complicated information. And I can kind of help bring the context for you as we go along. And that's my goal. So I wanted you to recognize kind of the process. And then the other thing that I'm really, really good at is I identify and I'll work a resource like nobody's business.
She sure will. She's MacGyver.
Okay. I work a resource till it holler. Like I know how to, there's all kinds. The other thing about technology in the age we live in that's beneficial for entrepreneurs is that there are so many free and low cost resources so that you can the things that you are strong in, you can do yourself. But then, then my goal here is to do some things with you to help you kind of discern which tools are going to work for you and how you kind of put together strategically a suite of resources so you can alleviate some of the misery of trying, and the overwhelming feeling of trying to do all this by yourself. And then, I want to introduce these concepts to you first. So I'm going to go to vividcontentlab.com and just show you the homepage and introduce you to this, to the inbound marketing model. I'm going to share my screen here because I already have it up, and you of course can go on your computer. But so this is the homepage of Vivid Content Lab. Let me get it to that screen. I love my little graphics. So proud of myself every time I look at it.
Very colorful.
I'm like, I love this site. I don't know why it takes me forever to put something on it. But here, let's get to the other screen. I might need to just let it run. I'll do that. Stop messing with it. For coaches, entrepreneurs, and more. So it's attract, convert, close, delight, and measure. That's the model. And hold on, we're getting there. One more screen, and then I'll pause it. So it doesn't want to cooperate. But so the attract, convert, close, delight, measure is the model. So you want to attract strangers, You want to convert visitors to your website. This is what we're talking about. You want to close leads. You want to delight your customers, and you want to measure engagement. And there's one more. Here it is. It's coming. I'm going to let the whole thing load, and then I'll stop it. Can you guys see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you Google this for yourself, is it gonna stay? Be nice to me. Most of the images that are gonna come up are gonna have attract, convert, close, and delight. And I found one that had the measure step on there. So I really, really liked that. And so this graphic is kind of a compilation of a bunch of modeling models, like the bubbles are a different model. You know, just kind of, but I'm going to walk you through and explain what I figured out. So what God showed me when I found this model was, if you miss, this is what you call the, it's kind of the process that you take, it's like a customer relationship management process. And this kind of outlines it. So your customers, for the most part, are going to start out as strangers. And your goal is to make them visit your site. You want to attract them so that they visit your site. And this is showing us that you use a blog, you can use keywords, you can use social media to attract them to your website, okay? Then once they are visitors of your website, your goal is to convert them. And you use forms, you use, here I called it calls to value, but you also hear it called call to action. And then you can use landing pages. So convert really just means that you establish a way to connect with them. So you notice how you'll see an ad or something that says, or a social post that says, download this free workbook, this free guidebook on, you know, how to manage your social media. You know, download it for free. And what happens? You go to the website, and what do they want?
Email.
Your
They
email.
want your email. And so that's a conversion. You go there, you get to their landing page that tells you more information about whatever it is they promised you. Then you say, yes, I want that. And so you give them all your business, which is your email. And, you know, we'll give our phone number away faster now than we'll give our email away. You notice that? Email is the gold. So that's a conversion. So once I convert you, you are now a lead. And so what I need to do now is I've got to close you, and basically I have to qualify you, right? So I want to send you an email after, because you know, as soon as you say, yes, I want this free guide, and you give them the email, what's going to happen after that?
You're going to send an email to introduce your product or engage.
Yeah, they are going to be sending you more messages, right? After you give them their email, your email, then they are going to start sending you messages. And then, so what they're trying to do now is they're trying to qualify you. They're sending you information and making offers to see what you will respond to, what you are interested in. So now I want to close you on something else, right? I want to sell you, I want to upgrade you. Now that you've read this free guide, or you've joined my free webinar, I want to sell you my program. I want to sell you my Vivid branding program now, right? So as soon as you say yes and you register, now I want to delight you. So now you're my customer. So we went from a stranger to a visitor to a lead, then a customer. So now that you're my customer, I want to delight you. And I'm going to delight you. Now, I'm sorry, let me go back. So once you become a lead, I'm going to send you these emails. And I've created a workflow, a process that I want to take you through to qualify you and see what I can sell you, right? Then once you buy something, you're my customer. Now I want to delight you. And the way I'm going to delight you is I'm going to invite you to an event. I'm going to provide some special information for you in social media. I'm going to create content that is smart. So smart content is customized for you. So more than anything, if I say, Jan, what do you think of X? Don't you just perk up instantly as soon as you hear your name? Peyton, Nicole, you can't help it. So if you notice, what do you notice about my emails to you?
they're personalized.
They always have your name in the subject line, don't they?
Mhm.
So even if you know that's a marketing trick, you still fall for it because it's your name, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's super important that you customize emails, because most of us know that the email is not that message was not made just for me, but still psychologically we want to see our name and we want to feel like it's just for us. So when you get a customer, you want to delight them by using their name. You want to provide them. I don't know if you guys got some of the emails, but some of the people that I sent emails to about the Vivid Branding course, I went back over maybe a questionnaire they may have answered for me. And I said, and my email said, let me remind you of what you told me last year or told me in 2017. And then I said, you told me blah, that you were interested in blah, 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 right? And so that's how you delight a customer. And you want to do that over and over and over. And so we want to delight them to the point where they become promoters, right? And then we want to be able to measure what we did. So you download the widget, you sign up for the free course, you buy the program. Then what happens? What happens normally after you buy a product? Let's say you just buy something from Amazon. What's going to happen after that?
They sometimes they want a survey, or they're
going to send you a survey, right? Mm-hmm. And the bigger the company, the quicker that survey comes. But they're going to ask you, how do we do? If you do a live chat, if you do, if you call, get customer support, they're going to send you back and say, oh, how do we do? And then if you have a website, you should have Google Analytics or something that's attached to that. If you have a social accounts, most of those have social insights already built in. So there's a way for you to measure your contact with them. So now, what God showed me when I saw all of this was, this is your problem. So if you are not getting the business that you want, if you're not growing the way you would like to as a company, you can identify where you are missing a step in this process or multiple steps to see where the holes are. So now, let's say you have, they're a stranger, like at MogulCon. So MogulCon was Peyton's first time going there. So everybody in the room is a stranger pretty much, right? So she's got a product that she's trying to introduce to total strangers. They've never met her. They don't know anything about her product. They don't know her company name. They know nothing. So some of those people walked by that table, saw her, heard her little pitch, tasted her samples, and bought something, right? So they jumped from stranger to customer. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, if she did not get their email, she did not convert them. She was able to close them, right? But so she didn't convert them, so she didn't really turn them into a lead that she could follow up with. She doesn't really have any information about them. I'm just saying, I don't know if you grabbed, you probably did grab emails because I taught you better. but in most situations, what we do is they're a stranger, they buy something from us, and then we're done. So what's the problem with that?
No return revenue.
Yeah, no repeat customer.
Repeat customer.
Everybody's new.
No repeat customer. No
engagement, no relationship building.
No relationship. They don't really know a whole lot about you either, right? So when they walk away, they are more than likely to completely forget you.
Yeah.
Right? Even if they love your product. Have you bought a product before and you got home and you used it up and you were like, oh man, where did I get this from? You have no idea. So do you see how you're kind of pouring your money in a bucket with holes?
Yeah.
If you're not paying attention, at least aware of the process. It's like if you go somewhere, like you're dating, you meet somebody. If a guy walks up to you, he's a total stranger, and he says, let's get married. What would you say? What would you say? I would say, you are crazy, and let's call the police, right? Let's call security, right? But that's how we treat people that we're trying to do business with. So in social media, how do you feel when somebody is selling what are those wraps, those little body wraps, so they're selling one of their direct sale products and they're posting in social media about it every day?
Get annoyed
Completely annoying. But why is that annoying?
because it's in your face all the time.
But so what's wrong with that?
Well, maybe if I'm not
So-
interested in the product, it's just I've gotten the information and I'm not, just tired of seeing it.
But what
But
would
it's
make
doing
you
its
interested?
job.
What would anything make you interested in it?
No, because I mean I've heard people personally trying to sell it to me as well.
Well, but,
So-
but if you look at this model, why is that offensive?
It's not personalized. I
It's
mean, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know the
Well, but that's it. It's not
item, but
personalized.
it's not
They
personalized.
they haven't taken the time to get to know you. They're only just trying to sell you stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? They haven't even identified if you that like as a lead, they've turned you into a lead. They've kind of hijacked your feed and turned you into a lead without getting your consent. Because at least if you attract me with some information about your product and I go to your website and I give you my email, I've at least said that you can reach out to me, right? But if I come into a marketplace and an open place, a public place, and I just start trying to sell you stuff, that is offensive because you have skipped all these processes. And if a man comes to you and he doesn't introduce himself and try to get to know you and and then ask you, hey, can I stay in touch with you, right? You gonna be real irritated when at the end he's like trying to hit you up to go somewhere. So you got to think about that in terms of your business. But so now, I don't want you to worry about all the steps and all the information, all the stuff that's in here, but I just want you to be aware that this is the process. Because once we get to here where we've made them promoters, then I'm pointing like y'all know what I'm talking about. Like y'all can see me. But once you get to promoter over here, and then this is where this pink line, after a while, the promoter, they start getting strangers to you, right? So that's where word of mouth is truly the best advertising. But I can't tell you how many times people tell me, oh, I don't need to advertise because I get most of my people word of mouth. Well, it's nice when you can build up a word of mouth business, but if you talking about building something that beyond you, where you don't have to do everything, and something that's going to last and grow, then you can't just rely on word of mouth from the people that are already in your circle. So the inbound marketing model involves getting total strangers, and you can do that digitally with a whole bunch of tools, okay? So, but you need content to do all of this. Do you recognize that? If I'm gonna attract you, somehow there's gotta be something about what I'm doing that attracts you. So that's content. And when you click on whatever my offer is or whatever attracts you, and I get to a landing page or to a form or whatever, that's content as well, because you have to write what that is once they get there, give them more information, right? And then to close them. So if you see every step of the way, it's all content. You have to have it. And there's a whole bunch of different ways to get it. So don't get nervous. Well, you already know how hard it is, right? But I want to kind of help you along the way, make this a little bit easier. So then, so that model, God gave me, again, I was trying to define that model for a client. Let me show you what I turned it into. So this now, I call it my relationship marketing map. And I'm just gonna run really fast through it. So we'll cover this some other point. But what is this dream you have? That's the first question I always want to ask. What's your ultimate dream? What are you trying to accomplish? And then what's the opportunity that you have that you can meet with this dream? So the bottom line is you got to solve a problem. If I'm a stranger and you trying to track me to you, you got to tell me how you're gonna solve my problem, right? And then if I visit your site, you got to establish a point of contact, and that's that email. And if once I'm a lead, you got to start a conversation with me to see what I'm interested in, right? These are the opportunities. And then who am I trying to reach? That's the next question. What are you going to offer them? So this is a little worksheet I created. So this is where you would write in what you're going to offer. This is how you kind of map out your campaign, how you're going to communicate with somebody about a specific thing. And it just goes on. It takes you how you're going to present it to them. So the content is how you're going to present it. And in this instance, the teal is digital and the red is traditional media, traditional content. Then what do you have to do to reach them? So I've got to contact strangers. I've got to engage with visitors. I got to qualify leads. I have to serve customers, and then I have to survey my promoters. Then what's the objective of your connection? I'm trying to make strangers aware of what I'm doing. So I'm trying to create awareness. I'm trying to make visitors, I'm trying to gain their interest. I'm trying to ascertain the desire of the lead, right? I'm trying to figure out what it is. I'm qualifying them, figuring out what it is that they really want. And then I'm trying to engage with customers by serving them effectively. I'm trying to get feedback from promoters by surveying them. You see how that works?
Mm-hmm.
And then how are you going to make an impression on them? So that's where the model comes in. I'm going to track, convert, close, delight, and measure. And then how will you deliver the solution? And so then so that you can walk, and really what they also call these, have you heard of funnels, sales funnels?
Mm-hmm.
So these are funnels.
That's
right?
what I need to do.
Huh?
That's one of the things I need to do.
But it's a funnel. And so have you heard of like sales pipeline, like sales terminology, creating a pipeline?
Mm-hmm.
So, when you think about it, it all makes so much sense. Oh my God. And the more I started looking at all of this, if you think about marketing terminology, a lot of it has to do with water. And I'll give you I might write a blog post about my revelation about water and marketing. So I'll save that for then. But if you think about it, a pipeline, if your faucet is clogged or the sink, your drain in your sink is clogged, water can't flow through it, right? So what we're doing is the analogy is water, your customers are like water. So you've got to get, and you've heard of, so if you're in a funnel, so what's a funnel? A funnel is wider at the top, right? So what we're trying to do is gather as many strangers from a specific group, and we want to get as many as we can through the top of that funnel that's wider and make it narrow to the point where they're those customers that we've actually met their need, right? But you got to get a big enough group. And what we're doing, most of us, is our funnel, the top of the funnel is not enough. Like if you got to imagine a funnel and then you only have like two or three little drops of flour or whatever, right? That's not enough to produce anything on the other end. Does that make sense? That makes sense? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what we have to do is get a big enough, our vision has got to be big enough, right? And then our net has to be wide enough to get a broad enough group of people that we can communicate with until they get to a place where they make a decision. And we got to have enough of those make a decision so that it sustains our business. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So just conceptually, that's what you're trying to do
Mm-hmm.
when you are branding. And so branding is not just what it looks like, not just your name, but it's how you operate and how you function and how you communicate who you are. And you got to define who you are first. So that's why I'm having you guys start with these assessments. So, okay, I know this is a lot. So after I got to that point where I defined that relationship marketing map, and that's my own adaptation of the inbound marketing model. After I did that, I was getting this whole water thing. And you know what? Look down here. This is at the bottom. This looks like a faucet to me right here. This customer development phase, which I haven't completely defined it all, but this when I got to here, looked like a faucet. And God was showing me how what we need rain, because growth doesn't come without rain. And let me back up. So you're gonna get a little bit of this. So I was listening to Miles Monroe, and he was talking about vision, and he was talking about the kingdom solution to financial problems. And he brought out that in Genesis, after God made everything, right? The scripture says that God did not allow it to rain because there was no man to till the ground, right? Y'all familiar with that? No man to till the ground. And what Miles Monroe was bringing out was that God does not allow growth where there is no management. So, right? God does not allow growth where there is no management. So if we don't have the capacity to manage growth, God cannot send us the rain, right? So the rain starts with drips. Have you ever heard the term drip campaign?
Yes.
So an email is a drip. You're like sending continual email, like a thread of emails. That's called a drip campaign. So think about it like that's like that drip campaign is watering your seeds. So like if you go to MoguleCon and you even like just have people sign up for a mailing list, or Jan, you go to one of the gun shows and you have people signing up for a list, even if they don't buy anything, whether they buy something or they don't, you just have them sign up for a list. If you take their emails and you never reach out to them, or you reach out to them 2 or 3 times a year, there's not enough water. That's not enough of a drip, right? You get it? So it starts with a drip. You've got to have that drip, that steady communication. But you've got to be bringing the funnel. The funnel's got to have more and more people coming in at the top in order for the drips to turn into a stream. Right? Just imagine when you first turn your faucet on in the bathroom, like in the morning, right? You might turn it on real low and you get a little stream of water. So we want to turn that drip needs to lead to a stream. And then that stream ultimately leads to a fountain where it's starting to spring up. And then that fountain turns into a river, right? And ultimately that river, we want that river to turn into a flood. And then we want the flood to turn into an ocean. And that is what growth is. And once we get to that point, that's where it turns into what I like to call play, living life at play, right? From a business standpoint and personally. So that's what we're trying to get to. So that model that I just showed you, the inbound marketing model, God showed me that there were other steps that we needed to take before we got to that, right? So just the quick, I'm not going to go through all of this, but the quick version is he showed me 12 steps that we got to go through, 12 questions that we have to answer before we even get, actually, there's 9 questions we have to answer before we even get to. So you see over here where it says connect. This is the inbound marketing model. So before we even get to how we manage customer relations, get and manage customer relationships, we got to deal with all of this. We have to define our vision. We have to identify the pain points of our potential customers. We have to define how we're going to be productive. We have to really research our target market. We've got to make sure our product or our service meets their need. We got to create an innovative solution to that. Then we've got to define how we're actually going to function as a business. What's the structure of the business going to be to deliver that product to that specific target of people? Then we have to look at what it looks like. What's the story? What's the strategy behind it? Then what kind of assets do we need to create? So even once you even get to this point, if you don't you still can't promote in social media if you don't have the what we call brand assets that you need. You don't have your logo, you don't have the images, you don't have the videos, you don't have the white papers. You don't, like, if you don't have any of that stuff, you don't have the assets that you need to actually post in social media. That's why it's so hard, right? Then you have to you got to kind of create a marketing and sales machine. So once you have those assets, just because you have really nice videos, now you got to create the delivery system. Like, how are you going to use those things and get that information to those people, right? Then, so then it's like, what do you have to do to reach them? That's the question number 10. And that's the same column here. That's where the inbound marketing model comes in. So you see, we got 9 whole phases before we even get there, right? And really I think the model is 80% of your time needs to be spent on developing your company and your business and your products, and 20% of your time is spent on people, reaching people. Because if you do all that other work up front, you have a much more, you're more likely to be able to connect with them, right? So here is where your content comes into play, where you basically become your own publisher, where you are, getting your own information out about what you're doing. And then you've got to make an impression on them. What kind of experience are you creating for them? That's that delight phase. And then how are you going to keep them? And then how can you get more business out of them, right? So my Vivid Branding program really covers that 5 months that I told you about, really covers all of this at some level. But this is too much to try to do like right now. But I want you to know that this is what this is what it's based on. So this is what the Vivid Branding course is based on. And so what we're doing in these first 2 months is dealing really right here, right? We're actually probably these first 2, probably answering these first 2 questions. Nah, I take that back. We're dealing with strategy, right? We're dealing with these first 3 areas, because that's why I wanted you to have the Flip Productivity book. And I want to really be teaching you those productivity principles that I'm talking about, because when you have to do everything, one of the problems that we're dealing with is that we're all real unproductive. We are wasting a whole bunch of time. And if you don't have the money to pay somebody to do all the stuff that you want to do, a lot of times it's not so much that you don't have the money, it's because you don't understand what you need to get done and you're not managing the resources that you already have, right?
Wow.
So what I want you to do is, I don't want you to walk away feeling overwhelmed by this. What I want you to do is feel hopeful that what we're going to be able to do is help define a strategy for how you're going to deal with all of these issues. Because you don't have to solve all of this and be all done like a multi-million-dollar corporation right now. But you do need to understand the process, because as long as you are making incremental progress, you're going to be amazed at how far you get when you really do take the time to kind of back up and do some strategizing and some soul searching and ask some really good questions and get answers to them. Like, if you don't ignore them and face them, you're going to be amazed at the progress that you're going to be able to make. And so then with the syllabus, and I will send you guys this. Now this is the whole 5 months, so I'm not going to bother you with all of that. And when you asked me for a syllabus, Jan, I only sent you, I think, up to like here. But because again, I was like, I know this is a lot. So what I wanted you guys to do now, tell me how you felt about your results from the StrengthsFinder assessment.
It was spot on.
Who said that?
Peyton.
Okay, Peyton. So what, was there some things in it that stood out to you? So tell us what yours were, your top 5 strengths.
How am I going to get to that? Oh, wait a minute. I can look it up here.
Oh, you know me, honey. I done printed everything out. I got your report. I got all your reports. I know all your business. No. But no, so how did you guys feel about it in general while she's looking for that?
It was interesting. I felt
That's
like
exactly
a lot of the
it.
questions were, for me anyways, I kind of felt like I fell in the middle. I really didn't lean one towards
Or another.
one side or the other. They weren't complete opposites, or they were too much of an opposite, and so I was right smack in the middle.
Now, have any of you done these kind of personality assessments before?
Yes.
Like what kinds have you done, Nicole?
So the one that I did, the instructor made it winter, spring, summer, fall. So I did that, I think, which is similar to like when you come out with those letters. So I did take that. He just had it broken down into seasons.
Yeah.
Because the personality traits that will fall through kind of went along with the seasons and the weather that came with it. So that's the only, and then the spiritual gifts.
Spiritual gifts. What kind of spiritual gifts tests have you done? Is it was it online?
I did one online and I did one through a book.
What book?
I can't remember the name. It was spiritual gifts where they asked you, I think, 75 or 100 questions. And then
Discover your God-given gifts?
I can't remember.
I've done that one.
Okay, so I am obsessed with assessments.
She sure is.
And let me tell you why. Because every different, each assessment tells you about a different aspect of your personality. So what I have done over the years, like I love training and development and every kind of self-help workshop, like I love those things. And so that's how I kind of fell in love with assessments. But every time I took one, I did start to notice that there was some new thing that I was discovering about myself and about other people. So from a business standpoint, you can't afford to not know like all kind of intricate details about yourself. Like there's a guy named Peter Daniels. He's an Australian millionaire and a Christian. And he spoke at my church one time and he said, can you write what's possible with you in 50 pages or more? How do you feel about that?
That's a lot of pages.
Can you write that? Say what?
That's a lot of pages.
That's a lot of pages. But he said, can you write what's possible with you in 50 pages or more?
I don't know.
Well, and so I'm one of those. Wait, Nicole, you remember Pastor Joe? We're in a ministry training class, and the pastor asked me. She asked me, "Did I lose Jan? Did we lose her?"
No, she's here.
Get it back on my computer. So.
Okay, here you go. But so she asked us to tell us. She was teaching us about gifts and callings of God, and she asked us one very simple question. She said, "I need you all to let me know what you think your calling is." Nicole, I gotta let you see my report. So what you have to know is I'm an MBA, like I have a master's degree, and in the master's program we had to write reports in APA format and like this. I'm used to that. I write business reports, I write proposals. So when she asked me a question, I'm like, I gotta answer the question. Like I can't just say like one word or a sentence, right? Like I gotta answer her. So I wrote a 7-page paper with 3 charts in it. And so
wow.
And I wrote 5 sentences.
She wrote 5 sentences. I wrote a 7-page chart. But so part of the reason that I can write like that about what I believe God has given me to do, what he's called me to do, what I care about, is because I've taken all these different assessments and I use those assessments to help me understand what I'm trying to say and what I have to offer and all of that. So I want you all to read your reports and go through them and underline and highlight, circle things that you think really speak to who you are. And ultimately, we're going to use that information to formulate your vision, right? And also to help you develop a strategy around how you are going to manage all the different components of your business, because there is a way to do it. It's not easy, but it's going to get to a place where it's fun because you really are learning how to play. And I truly am learning how to play. That doesn't mean that I don't have any challenges, that I don't, like I have all the money and all my ideas are all working. It's like really not that, none of that's true. But what's amazing is, right, none of it's true. But now what's exciting is I get to get up every day and everything I do really is play, because I am discovering how to execute and implement that everything that God has made me and everything that I see and everything I believe, right? And so it's becoming sweeter. And so now part of the fruit of all that work is now I'm working with you all, right? Because I have taken the time to sit there and, like Michelle, one of the things you said to me, will you share with them what you said to me about why you, what struck you about my presentation at MoguCon? Do you remember that?
Bad.
Well, you basically told me, you said something about you were impressed by all the thought I had put into it or something.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that, you probably remember more. But I was and am impressed by not only the thought and how you really speak to an individual. And I can tell it's not a whole bunch of like fluff. It's detail. It's focus. And
okay, so it's vivid, right? Like
yeah.
you say, it's vivid. And so it's vivid because I've been working on who I am. And so I'm constantly, and so it's a process, right? I haven't figured it all out yet completely. But I've used events like MoguCon to force me to dig and to write and to communicate. And so I was working with a friend of mine, like everybody needs a coach. It doesn't matter who you are. Remember, even Michael Jordan, like even LeBron James, like everybody needs a coach. The president has advisors. So whoever you are, no matter what your strength is, as strong as I am in branding and strategic planning and writing and all those things for other people, I need the same help that you need, right? So I had somebody, a friend of mine, coach me before MoguCon, and we talked about what I was gonna offer while I was at MoguCon, right? So I made up that little game, like literally the night before, and then we made up this course. And this course did not exist at all until I stuck it up on the computer. And even when I put it up on the computer and started sending you guys emails, it still wasn't done. And it's still really not totally done, but but I am light years ahead of where I was before MoguCon, because I was trying to, I had an opportunity, there was a demand placed on my gift, and it forced me to define and try to communicate better, right? And Jan, when you reached out to me and asked me what was going to be the agenda, and I didn't
know.
I had started this, but so you asking me the question forced me to sit down and think it through and try to communicate, right? So that's what you have to do. You got to take the opportunity to just dig and you got to make yourself. And so that's what I hope we're going to do here in this course, is the fact that you got to come here every week is just going to force you to press through whatever situation you're dealing with in your life. And what you got to know is your life is never going to slow down. If you have a full-time job, you are probably longing for the day when you can quit your full-time job and work on your business full-time. Well, but if you're working on your business full-time, you're probably longing for the day when you had a job, right? Because no matter what, there's always going to be challenges, and you can't stop your loved ones from passing away. Unfortunately, we can't stop accidents from happening. My husband fell off a ladder and broke 4 vertebrae in his back in the middle of this big project I was working on. So you can't stop any of that stuff from happening. But when you have a vision, you have what you need to press through all of that and keep going to build your dream. And you just gotta keep squeezing out every bit of potential, and all of those things force you to focus and to get it out. And so what I want to help you do is kind of coach you through it. But I want to read, I put it in one of the emails, but let me, I think, where is it? Oh, I have the wrong version. That's why it didn't look familiar. Hold on real quick. I'm going to find Galatians. But here, Galatians 6:4-5 in the Message translation says, make a careful exploration of who you are and the work you have been given, and then sink yourself into that. Don't be impressed with yourself. Don't compare yourself with others. Each of you must take responsibility for doing the creative best you can with your own life. So what I want to do is I want to help you use the information from your StrengthsFinder report to help you build your business around your strengths. And then we're going to create strategies for how we're going to deal with the things that are that you're not as strong in, right? So what we want to do is we want to sync ourselves. We want to explore who we are and what we're supposed to be doing. And then we want to build our lives around that to the point where we make our weaknesses irrelevant. So instead of you spending your time trying to get better at accounting, right? If that's not your strength, let's spend more time on the things you are good at. We don't want to ignore the things that you're weak in, but we want to look for resources to help you leverage your strength so that it overcomes and compensates, right? So that's the goal, right? And that's kind of the method to my madness. Now, so I'm not doing too bad. Since we started, I gave you a little bit of intro, so it's okay if we go till what? 9:30, is that okay? Is that all right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so Peyton, did you find your report, honey?
Yes, it's the number one is positivity.
And Lord Jesus, is that right or not?
Yes, it is. Number two is developer.
Mm-hmm. I was
And number
surprised by that.
Yeah, me too. And woo is number three.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want the other two?
Yep.
Empathy and then communication.
So now, did you have an opportunity to read the report at all?
Well, I mean, it's based on this information right here, positivity. Yeah, exceptionally talented in the positivity theme. And have
Contagious enthusiasm. Oh, Jesus. Y'all, we ran a 10-mile run, and this the entire time I was suffering, right? I was completely unprepared for this race, and by 5 miles in, everything started to hurt. 5 miles, now that's halfway. So then I had to run the other 5 miles just in total pain and torture. And this one is running along the race, cheering. I mean, she's running the race and she's cheering the people who are cheering for us and greeting everybody. And like, I was like, Jesus, like I wanted to choke her. But anyway, go on. Contagious enthusiasm. It wasn't contagious when I was in pain, but.
And they are upbeat and can get others excited about what they are going to do.
Yeah.
That's that positivity. Developer is relationship building. I don't know if I meant kind of, it's like, I think Jan, you said it, some of those questions, I don't know if they were so close or, you were just trying to figure out the right thing. I hit some in the middle, maybe I should have hit in the middle. And I didn't think developer would be my second gift, but it says relationship building, people exceptionally talented in the developer theme, recognize and cultivate the potential in others. They spot the signs of each small improvement and derive satisfaction from evidence of progress. That's Gwen.
Well, but at the same time, I see elements though, because you are a servant, and it's talking about instinctively understanding the level of attention and amount of time the person needs from you. Like you are a servant. So this does apply to you in that regard. You're affirming, like all of that. So I think it may come from a different place, but that still relates, still does relate to you.
Okay.
But so I think what's important is that you go through these reports. I just want you to really go through them prayerfully and read through and circle and highlight and see what really speaks to you. Right? And even like certain phrases that stand out, because we're going to use those. One of your assignment for this week was supposed to be to write a bio using this and using the phrases and stuff that you find. and I might, you can try to do that. I mean, maybe you go ahead and try to do it, and then I'm sure it's gonna be a challenge, but I want you to at least start it. So by the time we're done, you'll have a really good bio.
Within the information on this.
I want you to look at these two. So there's one is your strengths insight report, and one is your signature themes. So the signature themes, I think the difference between the two is just that the signature themes is explaining what each of your top 5 themes is about, describing those themes, but then the insight report is giving you a little bit more information about you. Because what I love about the Strengths Finder is that you get, if I'm a communicator and one of my top 5 is communication and yours, and there's 3 of us, I think that had communication, our reports are usually different, which is, I don't even know how they do that. So I think it's based on like how you answer your questions too. So I want you to just go through, see what speaks to you, highlight those things in both of those reports, and then see if you can write a bio for yourself using that. Or if you have a bio already, take the bio you have and add some of this information to it to try to make it more interesting. Because the worst thing is most people write a bio and it's real boring, because most of us, don't want people to think we're bragging about ourselves. And then we also don't know enough about ourselves that it's hard for us to really describe who we are. But what we want to do is we want to write a bio that is compelling and that really speaks to who you are. So now, even if you don't feel like you're a really good writer, I want you to at least start it. Because if you had somebody else who could, like beef up your resume, beef up your bio, they're going to need something from you to start anyway. How you feel about that?
That makes sense. And I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna read the report. I'm gonna print it out and, like you said, highlight it and then focus on it and work on that.
Okay. So how do you feel about it, Michelle?
I'm going to do it, but writing is not a strong point. But
so that's why I want you to get some wording from the report.
Yeah, I'll work on it most definitely, but writing is not a strong point of mine. Then I also feel like what you were saying too, when you write about yourself, talking about yourself on your strong points, like you're bragging or something. So I'm gonna work on it, but writing is not a strong
point. But so right now, I don't want you to worry about what anybody, because right now, you the only one that's gonna see it. You don't even have to share it with me if you don't want to. So just start it out as an exercise, right? To help you just get a little clearer about how you want to talk about who you are and what your strengths are. Okay? So Jan, okay. How do you feel about it?
I don't have a problem doing that, writing about it. I'm not sure I agree with the results, but.
So what I want you to do though is the parts that you do agree with. That's all I want you to do.
Okay.
Like just whatever you think might resonate. And then any wording from that you can pull to try to add to your bio. That's what I want you to do. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Nicole.
Now, she's saying that she doesn't necessarily agree with it.
Uh-huh.
Jan, if you don't mind sharing what makes you feel like that.
Yeah, what don't you agree with?
Well, it has competition for number 4.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I'm a bit more competitive than that. So I'll give you my top 5: adaptability, an includer, communication, competition, and ideation. Overall, I would say, yeah, I guess it probably, I have a huge empathy cell in my body. And I'm a 3rd out of 4 kids, so I'm very much a middle child syndrome, a peacemaker.
Right.
People pleaser is a big problem. I do struggle with decisions. And I know that's from my mom, who's overbearing, and
Mhm.
every decision I made was not correct according to her. But so I know that that's a factor, but I do feel like I get pretty competitive. I've been involved in sports most of my life. And then when I see my competitors on stuff, I'm like, oh, you know, I should be doing that.
Right.
They took my idea. So I do have that competitive edge.
So what
or
about this don't you
gene.
agree with? Because you described the whole thing. Like you described exactly what I read.
Well, I guess competition is number 4, and I think it should probably be a little higher. But
Because you're competitive.
yeah,
I love it.
touche.
I love it. She's like, no, I'm more competitive than that.
But I'm bummed. Bingo.
that-
That is funny.
And
Because
let me-
even like how your demeanor and everything
Yeah.
is. I mean,
What's that?
even how your demeanor, like I don't know you, you don't know me.
Right.
But other than this class.
Right.
So
I'm
even
having trouble hearing you. It's breaking up.
Can you come? You want to come over here?
look,
You want to come over here?
I'm exposed.
Wait, she gonna come into the Adam Red office.
She's in color.
Don't mess up my background. Don't mess up my
My
background. Get off
background
of
is
it.
great. I'm
Yeah,
not
get off
on
my
it.
background.
I'm not on it.
I'm on it. Okay, so come here. There we go.
Oh my
Look, there we
goodness.
go.
See?
Wait, I need the office.
Control.
Wait, my office. Did this give me a vision for my office,
See,
y'all?
look.
Okay, go ahead.
But
but-
it looks better since I'm in here.
It does it. Okay.
No, what I was saying is because I think I remember seeing you at the MogulCon,
Mhm.
but I
I was
don't
the
know.
only one. Go
She's
ahead.
the only white girl. That's why she said that. Okay. Her and that other girl that was on the stage.
You're right.
They gave us the bags.
Okay,
Yes.
Delta.
Yeah,
Delta.
yeah, yeah.
But what I was saying is just your mannerisms and your demeanor. It describes everything that you just
Said
said.
everything.
But then
Okay.
even with the competitiveness, even if it's at number 4, you could be competitive, but those other things are definitely stronger in you than that.
Okay.
So-
And you know what? And you know what I saw when I read it? I just thought, oh, poor baby, she's fighting with herself, right? And really, we all are. Like we all have
Yeah.
that, right? So there are these competing aspects of our personalities
Mhm.
that make us kind of war. Like I'm a creative, but I'm like I need charts and order.
Administrative.
So I fight myself. Like I'll get some fabulous creative idea and I'll go starting to work on it, but then I can't just let it become, I got to turn it into, I got to make it fit into something. And I'm like constantly going, it's a fight. And so when I saw
Mhm.
that, I thought, oh, she's at war.
Yeah.
Like
I do have that tendency. I'm a creative as well, but I can get very anal.
very
about-
anal. And you know what? And I thought, and when I saw it, I said, she has a hard time making a decision. I saw
I
it.
mean, I do realize where it comes from.
A very nice, or
Yeah.
you seem as if you're one who's very considerate
Yes.
of other people's feelings.
Yes.
So even in that, you may have a competitive edge about you, but because compassion is bigger
So
than
much stronger.
competition,
Yes.
it kind of seems like that your top 5, it seems like it would fit you.
And you
So-
and I felt like you probably get very frustrated with yourself. And I kind of heard it when you just said, I'm a people pleaser and that's a problem. And what I want you to really think about is it's really not a problem. It's part of a strength. And so when you start to understand and recognize that aspect of your personality and the strength in it,
Right.
then that'll help you deal with some of those situations where you feel like it's a problem. You know what I'm saying? But I think we all have to identify those things in our personality that might, because they're two-edged sword. Like
Yes.
we all have it. If whatever strength I have can also be a detriment and a weakness. Like I'm super organized and like people around me that know me, they appreciate the fact that I'm organized. But then if you really get to work with me in some situations, you're like, oh, she's a control freak, she's anal, she's this, she's that. So then it's a problem, right? But I'm like, yeah, but you loved me just a minute ago. Like, wait, it was good when we started. Don't turn on me now, right? So we all have that, but we got to understand. We have to understand the negative aspects of our personality, so that way we also can have some compassion for how other people might see us. And so it's not a matter of I got to change so I please you, but I do need to be aware that when I talk a certain way, when I get in a certain mode, I might come off a certain way that's inconsistent with what I'm really trying to communicate, right?
I feel like that my people pleasing is a detriment to myself, and that's where I don't see it as a positive. Is I will disservice myself or put myself out for someone else. So yes, I concur with everything you said. Although I might not like it, but yes.
Right? Well, but listen,
I'm here to be worked on.
You're right, but I think it's a matter of growth.
Yes.
Right? You learn how to set limits for yourself. Because I am in the same situation. Like I was so frustrated with myself at the end of last year or middle of last year, because I was like, I have given everything to everybody. So like I did this class and charged money because I give out this kind of advice all the time. Like I set people up, get them all done, and then like they don't do anything with it. And then I end up like all my stuff is not done. So I was frustrated with myself because of that. But at the same time, the reality is this is who I am. I have to teach people. I have to help. I've got to now figure out a way, how do I help you without being a detriment to myself and my household, right? So that's what you have to do, is you need to be adaptable, because that's how God made you. But you just got to recognize when you need to set limits for yourself. And it's not, you're not a problem. It's not wrong. It's just, we all have to understand who we are so that we know how to adjust our behavior so we get the results that we want. And we're able to serve people the way they really deserve it. Because sometimes, and I'll share this too and let somebody else talk, but the other thing, he was like, Pastor Joanne this weekend, my pastor was talking about, dealing, the scripture talks about, don't worry about the speck in your brother's eye, and you got that beam in your own, you got that plank in your own eye. And so I used to think that was just you being critical. So don't be critical of that person when you got this big old thing, you got this big problem yourself. And what God showed me this weekend was that that's not necessarily a negative thing. So I might see that you really have a need, and I really just out of compassion and love want to help you. And I go ahead and help you. But then if I help you to the point where it hurts me, then that's a plank in my eye. So I got to learn, you know what? I can't worry. I can't be so concerned about helping Peyton, Michelle, Jan, and Nicole get their vision together, and my vision's not vivid. So I gotta go, okay, you know what? So that means that I gotta spend time working on my workshop. I have to take time working on my products. I have to take time to work on my website. I'm going to offer you digital services, so I got to make sure my digital services are on point. But I got to take the time and stop and not be chasing you, trying to give away all my stuff and my time and help you, but I haven't done mine. And so that's just the balance. Like, that's just maturity, and that's all you have to do. Does that make sense? And I don't want you to beat yourself up. Like, even you said something about your mother, because this is the other thing that I love about these assessments, because they also help us understand relationships with they help me understand my relationships with other people. So something about your mother's personality is kind of conflicting with your natural personality. And then that makes you feel like whatever is strong in her is speaking to what's strong in you and calling it bad. And then you're getting frustrated about that part of your personality and kind of starting to hate yourself a little bit about it. Because you're like, man, I'm such a people pleaser. I wish I could stop it. When that's not necessary. But all of that's coming up because that's a strength, is what I'm trying to say, right? And so when you go through these reports, I want you to be reading it just with an open mind and an open heart and looking at, okay, what is this really saying? And pulling out those things that do really resonate with you. Or even phrases that you feel like it's a good way to explain who you are. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So Nicole,
Yes.
have you had a chance? I know you just saw yours when we were coming in. But did you have a chance to look through it?
Do you want to mute your side and I turn mine?
Yeah. How do I? Oh yeah, I'll mute my sound. Go ahead.
Both of them are muted.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't hear either one.
I had to turn it on.
There we go.
You probably have to turn your volume down, Gwen.
How do I do it?
Just turn down your volume.
Like that.
That's better.
There we go.
Okay. So my top 5 are restorative, strategic, responsibility, woo, and communication. I just got mine tonight. When I did the assessment, I didn't realize I was supposed to click. I clicked the wrong place. But I definitely agree with the report. Restorative is people exceptionally talented in the restorative theme are adept at dealing with problems. They're good at figuring out what is wrong and resolving it.
That's you. Wow.
That's me.
Mm-hmm.
By nature, you're inclined to finish whatever is assigned to you each day. That's why I'm tired right now. You admit there are things you could do better. When you act on these ideas, you probably increase your chances of meeting the day-to-day expectations people place in you. I won't read the whole thing, but restorative is definitely what it goes along. Strategic is people exceptionally talented in the strategic theme, create alternative ways to proceed. Faced with any given scenario, they can quickly spot the relevant patterns and issues. That's me. Because I try to be very strategic in what I do. I'm not really the one who does a lot of hypothetical conversations or questions, because I just kind of feel like say what you mean and mean what you say. Because
That's you.
I just feel like you are your word. So I think that when you start getting into those blur areas, that just kind of, I don't know, it doesn't sit well with me. So that's definitely true. Responsibility. People exceptionally talented in the responsibility theme take psychological ownership of what they say and will do. Now that's funny because see, I didn't get this far in reading. That's kind of what I just said. They're committed to stable values such as honesty and loyalty. That's true, because I kind of feel like when you go into gray areas, that's kind of where you can become deceitful. And I say that very broadly, but that's kind of why I try to stay black and white. Woo, I had never heard that term.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah, let me mute.
But no, can they hear me?
Can you hear Gwen?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, because my mouth is bigger than hers. So you know what I thought of when I saw that was when you were telling me how your mom was talking about how you were irresponsible with money and all that, but one of your strengths is responsibility.
Right.
So it's one of those same situations like yours, Jan, where your mom is saying something to you about who you are and that feels like it's bad. And like she was telling me how her mom told her all her life, her mom's Korean and really good with money, and telling her all her life how she's terrible with money, but now her career and business is about helping people credit and get their money together. But your strength is responsibility, right?
Right.
So again, it goes back to all of our personality, your mother's personality, and then how that personality, worked with yours, and how her perception of your personality, because it was different from hers, and what we say and do, and then what we start to believe about ourselves. So really, you have always been responsible. Even when you're being irresponsible, responsibility was still a strength. Like my son has responsibility as a strength,
Mhm.
And he just got married and is responsible and adulting now. But when he was younger, it's like it felt like he was never gonna grow up. Like he was always a wreck. But the thing was, he would get an attitude with me about when he felt like he was failing and not taking responsibility for something, he would want to hide because he didn't want to be a disappointment. But it's because he had responsibility. It's one of his strengths. But he looked like he was a wreck. And we was all like, is this boy ever gonna get it together? But responsibility is a big thing, part of his personality. But so if you know this about yourself, though, it helps you to look at yourself in a whole nother light. And you don't, my goal is that you don't judge yourself so poorly, right? That you start to see where you are strong and this is good and we want to build on that rather than all this other stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Like I said, woo, I didn't know what that was. Am I even saying it right?
That's right.
Okay. Let's see. So they love the challenge of meeting new people and winning them over. They derive satisfaction from breaking the ice and making a connection with someone. That's definitely me.
You and my husband, when you walk in the door.
Yes.
Yes.
So, because even like, and my girlfriend teases me because two of my closest friends, I literally met them in the Apple store and AT&T, and we've been friends for years.
So that's how your personality.
Communication, let's see, generally find it easy to put their thoughts into words. They're good conversationalists and presenters. So those are my
Right.
5.
See, so if you feel like you're a terrible presenter and you have communication as a strength, then that's a lie, right?
Yeah.
Right?
So maybe my thoughts really are not all over the place.
Exactly. So, exactly. That's what I want. Exactly. So, Michelle, do you want to share?
Yes. My theme of strength, the first one is an arranger, responsibility, learner, input, and belief. And from pretty much, it really explains my personality to a T.
Right.
It really does. An arranger, theme, I can organize, but also have a flexibility that complements disability. Because of my strength, I have a strong sense of commitment. It motivates me to make sure things that are carried out through a completion. And, I contribute my talents and skill to it. So I do like fitting everything into, because I always looked at it as a big picture person. I like to put this together, and I have to see the big picture.
Yeah.
What I'm not good at is like the little small pieces. I don't like looking at the little bitty pieces. I don't get focused on that. But I can arrange the big pieces.
Yeah.
And I've learned to let somebody else that loves the little bitty pieces and all that. Look, I leave that to them. I don't, that's not me.
Yeah.
And then responsibility, people's exceptional talent, responsibility, take a thing, take the ownership of what they say they will do. And that's me. I see it on through and I'm trying to motivate others to do the same. Then, if you're going to tell me on assignment, then I'll make sure that I complete that assignment because, that's what I'm tasked with.
Yeah.
And then I knew I was a life learner. I'm always learning something, getting on the internet, trying to figure something out. But I like learning from others' version than starting over from scratch. You know?
Yeah.
I don't like reinventing the wheel. I just like improving upon it.
Yeah.
And then the last one was belief. Let me see if it comes up.
And that's why you have a photo booth business, right? You're using the established product.
Yes, that's right. But that's right. Because I don't like starting from scratch. I just like and I'm creative, so I can add that to what's already there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm trying to look for the last one to pop up.
You have input and belief.
Yes. Okay. People's exceptional talent, input theme have a need to collect and oh Lord, yes I do. Yes, I do. I accumulate information. I put it on a little piece of paper here. I try to organize it here and there. I keep everything. Yes, I do. I like to spend time together, socializing as well as working and studying. But yes, I put stuff there. I try to get unemotional, but I got stuff everywhere just to keep it. Artifacts, yes. And then the last one, beliefs. I'm waiting on it to scroll down.
Yeah.
Come on, wait until it come up.
Belief is my number 5 too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
People exceptionally talented belief thing has certain core values that are unchanging. Out of these values emerges a divine purpose for their lives. And yes, that's like I said, mine was dead on top of it. I mean, it was really nice to see their explanation, and then I guess to help me to understand that what I see as my strength, all my strengths, and understand why they are my strength. And I guess it's, so that I like it. I love it.
Yeah.
It's big too.
Yeah, it's super helpful, you guys. And so I don't want you to treat them like zodiac signs. Like we say, oh, I'm an Aries, I'm a this, I'm a that, and we keep on moving. Like I want you to, like, it says, make a careful exploration of who you are and sink yourself into that. So I want you to use this assessment, and I'm going to recommend some others. And I want you to use that information I want you to explore that information carefully and pull out details and let God speak to you and pull. And so can I tell you what I thought when I read your themes? I thought, oh my gosh, she's perfect for entrepreneurship. And then I thought probably one of her problems is to stop learning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like you love learning so much. It's like you just constantly learning something else. And you got to make yourself stop learning so you can get stuff done.
It's true, because I do it on work. I'll be listening to a podcast. I'll be
learning. Yep.
Learning. Yes.
Nope, I understood it completely. So my top 5, I'm an activator, relator. Does this sound like me, y'all? Activator, relator, maximizer, strategic, and belief.
Yes.
I saw that. I was like, what? Yeah, this is me to a T. Like everything about it. Let's see. An activator. Where can we start? This is a recurring question in life. You are impatient for action.
Yes.
Really?
What? I know y'all
they formulated this around you.
Y'all don't know nothing about that. Relator. Relator describes your attitude towards your relationships. In simple terms, the relator theme pulls you toward people you already know. You do not necessarily shy away from meeting new people. In fact, you may have other themes that cause you to enjoy the thrill of turning strangers into friends, but you do derive a great deal of pleasure and strength from being around your close friends. You are comfortable with intimacy, and that is so true. And I was telling somebody the other day, I said, I'm really uncomfortable in a room full of strangers. And nobody believes that, but it's true. And I would rather, as enterprising as I am, I would rather do things with people that I know. Like I would, if I'm going to be in business with you, I'd rather build teams of people to work with and build things. I don't want to just build stuff for myself. That's it. That's that relator. Maximizer. Excellence, not average is your measure. I'm always trying to push it. I'm going to push it harder. I'm going to challenge you harder. I'm going to, like you can get by with a whole lot less and still get it done, but I'm going to push you to do more, always. And then taking something from below average to slightly above average takes a great deal of effort. And in your opinion, it is not very rewarding. Transforming something strong into something superb takes just as much effort, but is much more thrilling. And that is the truth. The strategic theme enables you to sort through the clutter and find the best route. And that all day long, that's what I do. Belief, if you possess a strong belief theme, you have certain core values that are enduring, and that is true. Everything I do, whether you know it or not, has a biblical foundation, has a scriptural foundation, and most of the time I don't really communicate it. I'm starting to communicate it all more because I believe that last year God was really calling me to acknowledge that first and foremost, I'm a minister of the gospel. And so the business piece is part of my ministry, but the gospel piece is also part of who I am. So I'm getting to the place now where I'm not trying to cover up or camouflage the scriptural component anymore. I'll just throw it all out there in all situations and let you run with it, because that's who I am. But anyway, okay, so I'm over my time, but can I take a few more minutes and walk you through the flip book?
Yes.
You have time? Okay. So everybody got their flip book, right? This lovely.
Got mine today.
And I just want y'all to know that Michelle, Jan, and Nicole have the new pimped out version. Y'all have the best version of flipbook I've ever done. But yeah, y'all got the best one. I'm jealous. Like, I really am jealous. Like, wait, I can't wait to use mine up so I can use yours. No, this is the same one I have, but this was mine. It comes in 2 sizes, but I use the big one for y'all because I want you to start there. Okay, so the flip book, you should have seen in your emails the website and all that, so you can go get some more information about it. And I'm going to be developing this more in terms of tools and stuff to support you and help you. But the flip book was created in 2011. Actually, let me back up. In the 90s, I was designing my own planner. Again, this me, the anal one who's got to organize everything. So back in the day, you remember the day timer?
Mm-hmm.
So the day timer stopped at like 8 o'clock at night because most regular people, they weren't working that late, right? So I was an entrepreneur and I needed to keep track of my time beyond that, because I was, my background is in graphic design. My first job was at an advertising agency, actually in the front office, because I'm administrative and I was pregnant with my first son, and with my son, my only son. And so that's a whole nother story, not married, blah, 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 I needed a job. And so I got in to the advertising agency that I always wanted to work for. I got in the front office. And I just told them that, I just want to get my foot in the door and get a job in the art department, but I didn't think I was good enough to be an artist, even though I had a 4-year degree and I'd always wanted to be an artist my whole life. So I get in there and I right away start doing double time in the front office and in the account service, helping the account executives manage their accounts. Then they made me a full-blown secretary, and then I started taking on little projects in the account service department. Then, it just kept growing. So then after a few years, the Exxon Valdez oil spill happened, and I was working on the annual institutional television campaign with the president of the company, assisting him. And when the oil spill happened, they canceled the whole thing. And then I was given the opportunity either to get a job in the art department, or that they created for me, or become a full-blown account executive. And so I opted to become an artist, right? So we had to keep track of our time in 15-minute increments so that we could bill the clients.
Mm-hmm.
So my calendar, my planner was based on 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes every 24 hours a day. So once everything went digital, I decided that we didn't need my calendar anymore because I could do everything on my phone, right? So I dropped the whole idea. But then I started working on a project for a friend of mine, and I pulled out my old timesheet so that I could keep track of my time on her project. And the sheets just kept growing, and my notepads just kept growing because I was taking all kinds of notes. And so at one point I was like, look, if I'm going to manage all this paper, I probably just need to turn them into a book, print a bunch of these, stick them together, and make it a book for myself. And that's how I created the flip book. So have y'all noticed one side is planning? Mine is green, so it's messing up on my green screen. But the side with the cover on it that says flip, or whatever color cover you have, I know Peyton's is different. That's the planning side. And then if you flip it over, this is the producing side, right? So the slogan is plan your work, spend more time at play. Plan your work, produce what you've planned, and spend more time at play. So with your assessments and with the flip worksheets, I'm going to be helping you define what play is for you. And then we're going to use the flip book. Michelle, when you were talking, I thought you're going to love the flip book because this is perfect. All the places will keep all your information. Like everybody, all my friends that use this, the thing they love about it is that they got one place for everything. And so, and it's based off of the concept I call it clearing the brainstorm. And I think Jan, you talked about having all these things in your head and all this stuff going on, right? That's the brainstorm. So what I want to help you do with the Flip Productivity System is to clear the brainstorm, because your brain, you can think of your brain almost like just as a container. So you only have so much room, and once it gets full, what happens?
Stuff spills out, or it doesn't go in at all.
Everything starts spilling out, or it don't go in at all. Exactly. And so if you don't start thinking in a more organized way and capturing your thoughts and your ideas and your responsibilities and your concerns and all those things, if you don't start creating a system of how you're doing that, how you're capturing that information, you are going to feel like you're going crazy, and you're going to be incredibly unproductive, because your brain can only handle so much. So, but everything starts with planning. And so, and that's almost like a 4-letter word, right? Nobody really likes to plan because it feels hard, but it starts to get exciting when things come together. And as you get ideas, like, you know how you might write something on a Post-it note, or you write something in a journal, and then you write some notes, and then you have all these papers everywhere, right?
In an envelope.
And you write on an envelope, right? You put in an email. And how about you come to it like 2-3 years later? Have you come across any of those notes?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when you find something?
You're like, what's this?
You're like, oh my God, I can't believe I was thinking about that then, because that's happening now, right? Right?
Mm.
So what God showed me as those things are like prophecies. Your notes are prophecies. And what happens is you get an idea, you get a thought. And if you don't take the time to write that thing down, you are going to lose it. Right? And so the flip book is a way for you to capture that. So the first page, now, I don't think I've started your emails. I'm going to send you a series of emails called Flip Tips. And the Flip Tips are going to help introduce you to the concepts that the Flip Productivity System are based on, right? And then you're going to help me too to define some of the practical things that I need to create to help you understand how to actually use the book and the system. But what I have so far, you'll probably start getting emails tomorrow, or I might even just trigger them tonight. But you'll get a series like 13 different emails that'll explain everything. The first one will be, there's a getting started message. I think you're gonna get 2 messages up front, and then you'll start getting the tips. But anyway, in the front of the book, you'll see where it says, after the little title page, place for your name, your email, and the date from. Now, there's 90 days worth of timesheets in here. If you use it, every single solitary day, it would be 90 days. But you can use this however you want, because it's all blank, and I'll explain that in a second. But you want to start by writing in the day, the month, the date, and the year that you're starting with, and then write down your dream. Your dream, and whatever it is, don't even hold back. This is all yours. Nobody has to read it. You write it down for you. And then the next page just tells you the concept. So really, it really is like your notebook and your planner just got hitched. That's what the flip book is. One side is like your notebook, and the other side is like your planner, okay? And then this just explains what it is and how you set it up and where you get other information. Then I have a concept that I have 2 different names for it. It's the Flip 5 Principles of Planning, and it is the, well, let me back up. So the next sheet tells you how to plan, how to write your vision. And this just explains the different sheets that are in the plan side of your flip book. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. And then the Flip 5 Principles of Planning, I also call building the ark. So God showed me that really building your business is like building the ark. God told there was a problem that was going to happen, right? The flood was going to happen, and everything was going to be destroyed. And God went to Noah and said, I need you to build this boat. And he gave him exacting specifications. And if you look at the first chart, that first giant chart I gave you, I showed you with those 12 steps, you got to think that's like building the ark. There's all these components that you need to have in your business in order to be able to solve the problem and meet the needs of the people that you are trying to serve. And so the concept, this is the easy way to think about planning. And it's 5 steps. Look within, look up, look around, look ahead, and look back. That's how you plan anything, okay? And then, so then you have what I call Vivid worksheets. So Vivid is an acronym for Vision, Identity, Voice, Information, and Development. And the model, I've got it on mugs, I got it everywhere. So the model is you want to clarify your vision. So you have to ask yourself, what's the big picture? You want to establish your identity. Who do you think you are? That's what we're talking about. Find your voice. What's your core message? Uncover missing information. What do you need to know? And then commit to your development. Who do you need to become? I'm going to say that over and over, and you're going to read it everywhere over and over and over again. So if you look at in your flip book, there's a worksheet for vision. And it asks, what problem do you have to solve? What's the big picture? How is your dream going to make a difference? So all it does is it asks you 3 questions for each stage in the Vivid model. And what I want you to do is just look through. If you can answer the question, answer it. Like just jot down whatever comes to mind. And then later on, as you're going through this process and you get another idea or something else comes to you, just write it down. But this gives you a way to organize your thoughts so you don't just have paper everywhere, okay? And that's just kind of an ongoing process. It's really not something you can just sit down and all of a sudden it's done. And what I've done over the years is I'll jot down stuff in those and I'll look in different flip books that I have I'll look at all the things I've written about Adam Red, and I've been using all that information to piece together the content that I use for this course, the content I use on my website. It's going to serve you in so many different ways down the line, but you want to just have a place to put all the information, okay? So once you get through to the 5th worksheet, which the last one is development, right after that, I have a section for what I call a flip map. And I call the flip map is really your mission, your vision, your values. And you're going to be able to use some of the information from your assessments, from your StrengthsFinder assessment, from the Vivid worksheets, from the other exercises that we're going to do. I have another set of Vivid worksheets that I'm going to walk you through that we'll be using in the coming weeks. I got Nicole started on hers already. And how did you feel when we did the first worksheet, Nicole? She left here at like 1:30 in the morning.
Like I'm all over the place.
But no, how did it feel though when we walked through that process?
I mean, actually, it brought a lot of clarity. So even just going through the questions, it did make me realize that I think that we have the answers.
Yes.
And sometimes like going through different questions or kind of expanding your thought process, it makes it easier to realize that you really do have it.
Yes.
So what I walked away from it when we first started it, because we only started the very
This the first one. Yep.
But it just it did give me encouragement. It encouraged me to realize that I need to be more mindful and watchful of even the words or the way that I think.
Yep.
Because it's in there.
Yes.
It's there.
Yep.
So I think sometimes we get so used to saying what we don't know that
right.
we don't realize that.
Exactly. And that's what I really want to help you with. And so then after that, the other sheet then it's just journal sheets. And the journal sheets really are for notes. Notes for meetings, notes for your ideas, notes for projects, whatever. And it's instead of having just a blank journal, you just write endlessly, or just notebooks or random pieces of paper, you keep your notes in your flip book. And it's set up where you write your date. And so if whatever it is you're not going to be writing a whole lot. That's why I kind of divided it into these little sections. But if you're going to write a lot, you can write over the whole page, like however it works for you. Mm-hmm. But this is where you keep your notes. If I am working on if I'm trying to create ideas and work through problems, like all of my, let me show you, like my notes are, it does come in 2 sizes, but I started you guys out on the big ones because I want you to be able to put other sheets and stuff in here. But like I have notes about, I had a client meeting. So I've got like, okay, July 14th, 2018, Remy Toe. So I got my client meeting stuff there. Then I've got, I did a prophetic thing, a prophetic massage with Cindy Hornemans. I've got notes from what Cindy said to me, and I got the dates. And then when I go through this, I go back over these notes, and actually I'm going to go back. I haven't done this since we got into 2019. I'm going to go through my 2018, all of my notes, and just look over what I might have missed and that what I might need for what I'm doing now. Ministry training, I've got my notes from that. My studies for my Bible studies. I've got to-dos for all this stuff for my website, but I've got it all organized and dated, right? So I know, I have a point of reference and I know where to go look, okay? So, so that's that side. So flip it over. So the side with the elastic is the produce side. So on this one, clear the brainstorm. So this is an exercise you can do on your own, but this is, it says producing is about completing a series of targeted action. However, your brain is bombarded by a storm of thoughts that fight against your idea. They really do. Identify the obstacles that cloud your dream. So I want you to just sit there and just fill in those bubbles and write around it, whatever. Stuff that is always like this things that are always on your brain. And then this talks about how to produce, and there's 5 habits that you have to master in order to be productive. 1 is organizing, 2 is tracking, 3 is acting, waiting, and scheduling. And so there are sheets in the book. Now, you may not use all these different sheets, and because I don't use them all, but what I did, because I come from an advertising agency background and I'm project oriented, what I've learned, this system is really based on turning all the things that are bombarding your brain into projects, right? You can use this to manage every aspect of your life. And anybody that talks about organization is always going to tell you to put your life and your business and your work stuff together. You don't have a work schedule, work plan and then a business personal plan, because it's all your life. So you have to manage it all in one place. Otherwise, you're going to go crazy, or you're going to feel like you're going crazy. So this first section, I want you, as you identify the things that are bombarding your brain, then we're going to organize them into projects. So for me, one project might be Adam Red, right? My agency. And then I will break that down, each of those lines under there, if there's a project that I have to do for that. So I really need to rebuild my website. Like I'm in the process of doing that. So I would write Adam Red is my project title. And then my website, website development, website redesign is a project under that, under Adam Red. And then, but now I have the Vivid Branding course. So there may be specific things that I need to do with relation to any of you, or with that, in relation to the content each week, the promotion of it. So I turn each of those things into a project. Social media management for Adam Red. But then I also, go ahead.
So like there's 3 sections on the page. So Adam Red would be in the top section. Your website would be in the middle section.
Well, see, Adam Red would be one of the project titles, and almost like a client title even, and if you have small kids and the kids have projects, your child might be a project, right? Because they may have a lot of activities and just different things. Like I have friends that have kids with special needs. So that would really turn into basically a project, because she has to manage their therapy and blah, 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 right? So, that's theoretically, that's one way to use it. And then, so then the next project title would be your overarching, like, so for me, Vivid Branding now, the Vivid Branding course is a big project.
Yeah, I was just trying to find if like the website, Adam Red, all those things are still in the one section, or does each
Yep.
one need to have its own section?
I would make the website, the redesign for Adam Red, it's a sub project under Adam Red.
So that's all in the one.
Yes, all in that one section.
Okay.
Yep. Like all the big, like if those big far reaching projects that have multiple things that you have to do. So your business would be one of them. You know, like, so you would put incognito wear would be one of them. And then the projects that you need to undertake for incognito wear, this isn't the task that you need to do, just the overall, like defining what is it that I need to do. Like you got to develop your product. So product development, you've got to do your website. You have to do social media. You have to do like all those projects that you need to do. And you just want to organize. So this is like that top line, that top level organization. And so there's several sheets for that. I usually fill those up and run out of space. And then the triple S ledger. So we have to learn how to track our money. And so there's lots of digital tools. There's all kinds of stuff. But this is just an old-fashioned ledger that you use if you spend money, if you get money, just so you can have one place to track it. And back in the day when I was really using this section, I would use a paper clip to clip whatever receipts for my business that I needed to organize later. I would stick them here so that I could keep track of my money. But you might use it for personal, business, however you want to use it, but that's what it's for. It's just for tracking money, old school style. And then I read Getting Things Done, the book Getting Things Done. And one of the things he talked about, and every other organizer that I talk about, they talk about the fact that you need to have a place for everything, right? When I worked at Coach, we would organize the bathrooms where all the extra toilet paper was all in one section out of a box. There was no cardboard, and you put everything in the same section. All the paper towels went in the same section, right? So that's how you organize. If you got some towels over here, some towels over there, some towels under the bed, and some towels you're like, you're gonna be psycho. So the process is the same when you talk about getting things done and and really, and because I am action oriented, like my StrengthsFinder says, instead of using the phrase to do, I call it the act list. What action do you need to take to complete your next task? What action do you need to take? That's the A. To complete, that's the C, your next task. What action do you need to take? So I'm a list maker, and I'll make a list, and then I'll make another list out of my list, and then I'll make a list to organize my list of lists. Like I'm psychotic about it. But what I learned from Getting Things Done was you don't want to have multiple lists. You want to have everything in one place where this is all the things I'm going to do. But what I took it a step further, and I like to categorize my list. So that's why I made these little teeny sections. So like the flip book, I literally make those flip books by hand.
Wow.
Everything about it, especially y'all's are pimped out. So the paper that I normally use wasn't available, so I had to get something new. So now I love this little fake leather. This is actually paper, but I had to glue this paper to the board, then I do the holes, and then I put the grommets in by hand with this little machine thing, and then I feed the elastic through it and sew it by hand. And then this is the first time I ever covered up all of that. Now I'm really happy and can't ever go back because I had to do this for y'all. So then I put this little piece of paper on there, and right. So for me, I might have at the top of this, it would say, at the top of one of these sections on my act list, it would say flip productivity. And then I'd write, I got to go pick up the paper. I got to go find more elastic. I need to go that would be how I would organize that list. Right? If I have a bunch of stuff I have to do for flip, then I might use 2 sections, or I might need to use the whole left side or the whole right side. It's just whatever works for you. Now, this was the original. I just had this section with all these act list pages, so you could use this for your to-dos, right? But then I came up with another idea. So you got two different ways to use this. And I actually have come to the place where I like this other way better. So you will have a section in here with these Post-it notes. So the Post-it notes have the same little sections from your act list, only you can write those. So one Post-it would be for one project. So I would write one for Flip. I make jewelry, so I'd write one for my Baldacity. So your projects, you could make a Post-it for each of those projects. So as you think of things that you have to do, you could just make your list according to that and put it on that Post-it for that section. And I use pencil. The mechanical pencil is my friend. Before this, I hated writing with pencil. Now I really prefer it because I can erase the Post-its and don't have to keep throwing them away. And also another reason why I've started liking the Post-it system better, but you can do it however it works best for you, is because if you write something, let's say you were on your calendar, you write something down. If you don't get it done that day, what happens to it?
Got to rewrite it.
I got to rewrite it, right? So you're wasting time because you got to rewrite it. Then you got to remember to rewrite it. So that's clogging up your brain even more. Like, oh, I didn't get that done. Now I got to remember to rewrite it. Like that's painful. So if you use the Post-it system, I promise you, you're going to love it because you can write it on the Post-it. If you don't get it done that day, you can just move the Post-it. That makes sense? I know I'm giving you guys a lot of information, so just trust me, I know that. And then the next session is the wait list. So there's a lot of things that you do that require some additional steps that are out of your control. Let's say you were resubmitting your taxes from the last 5 years. So once you did all of that and got everything ready and submitted it to the IRS, you got to wait, or maybe you submit it to your accountant or your CPA. You got to wait for them to get it back. Well, instead of letting that fall off your radar, you would put it on your wait list. I also use a wait list to manage my prayer list, like things that I'm believing God for. I use the wait list for that. So that's what that's for. Contact list, of course, is just so you have a quick, and I was just thinking I really need to take the time to get a physical printed version of my contacts, because if I lost my phone or if Apple Cloud failed, I would be in trouble. I would have absolutely nothing. But you might be somebody that really, if you're writing numbers and stuff down on paper, instead of just writing them anywhere, you could write them in here. Then, so the calendars. So there are there should be 12 months. I think there are 12 months worth of calendars in here, monthly calendars. They are all blank. So you can start whenever you want, when any month you want to start in, you fill in the numbers yourself. I have stickers and other accessories and power tools and all that stuff you'll find out about later, where you can pimp your planner. So you can have colored stickers and all that, but in the very least, you can just write in it for when you need it. The other thing you can use it consecutively from January to December, or you can use it to manage projects. You can use it to plan out your social media calendar. You can use it however you want. It's very flexible and intentionally so. And then the next one is your timesheet. Okay. So the timesheet, I make myself write in the day, month, date, and year, like physically write it out so I know exactly when that is. And then the black part, 12 to noon, is midnight to noon. And then after that, it's noon to midnight. And then your that second little block there is 15 minutes. So like if you look at 12, that's 12 to 12:15, 12:15 to 12:30, 12:30 to 12:45, 12:45 to 1. That's an hour. Understand? So back in the day when I had to keep track of my time in 15-minute increments, 24 hours a day, or at least on my work, so I started writing down everything everything I did in my entire life. So now, any questions about any of that? That's the quick overview. So this is your book, and you can do whatever you want to with it, and nobody's gonna come to you and look over your shoulder and say that's wrong. So I want you, and I don't want you to save it because it's pretty and you want to wait until you figure out what you're doing and blah, blah, blah. All the stuff I've heard everybody do. Don't do that. I want you to just start using it. won't help you if you won't use it. Also, this is discipline. Like you need to impose some discipline on yourself to help you think more strategically, help you act more intentionally, and learn more about yourself so that you are doing things that really help build who you are and help you build on your strengths, okay? So I've got 5 worksheets. Is it 5? Yeah, 4 or 5. My flip worksheet. So on the syllabus, what I was gonna do today was start working with the play work. So the play worksheet is really about who you are. So your answers, we can use some of your answers from the Strengths Finder and put that on your play worksheet. So I'll probably send you those worksheets, but then we will actually do the work on them next week. So don't feel, because when you see them, you're not going to understand what to do. I promise you that. But I'm going to send them to you so you have them. And then next week we'll go through and fill in, or I might even send you a quick little video to explain so you can maybe work on it on your own. I don't know. I'll try to do that. But last thing before we go. So then I have what I call a flip identity map and a flip influence map. So it is an 11 by 17 sheet like this. Everybody's gonna get one. Nicole, you see yours over there? So I use this to write down the results from all of the assessments that I've taken, and they help me get a picture of who I am. And I gotta tell you, when I saw it written out like this, I was like, wait, this makes so much sense. So the first one, the identity map, I have a tool called the Brain Map, another assessment, which I will send you some more information on. I highly recommend that you get one. But my brain map tells me that my personality is I control. I like elaborate tasks. What a surprise. And then my behavioral style is developer. And my fears, I fear judgment. I fear a loss of control. And I fear boredom. So I'm always creating stuff, so I'm not bored. And then there's a book called Discover Your God-Given Gifts, which Peyton has taken. She's taken the assessment, so we're gonna find out what hers are. So there are 7, the Bible talks about 7 their motivations. Yeah, that book is everything. That's like the Bible, you need that. And I'll send you that as well, that information. But
Yeah.
There's 7 gifts that the Bible talks about in Romans 12. I want to say it's 5 through 12, something like that. And there are 4 communicating gifts and 3 serving gifts. And I'll bet you us 3 communicating people are high in the communication gifts. All 4 of the communication gifts are my strength. So my top motivation is administration. I have to create order out of everything. I scored 100 out of 100 on that test every time I take it. My second motivation is exhortation. I want to bring out the best in people, encourage them, help them, give them steps to improve. That's like how I think and breathe. My third is perception. My 4th is teaching. I'm going to come up with a program for everything. My other one is server. My next is giving, and my last is compassion. My girlfriend said that she pointed out that I was failing in compassion because I only scored like 32%. But I express my compassion by helping you create a plan. Then your strengths. So I have a place where you can put in there what your strengths are. So mine are activator, relator, maximizer, strategic, and belief. And then I have a place for values. So my values are rhythm, revelation, and relationship. They've been my values for decades. That's what I care about with everything. I'm an artist. I'm a poet. I love music. So everything I do has got to have some flavor and rhythm. And I love relationships with people where there's flavor and rhythm. I live by revelation. I love to inspire other people to live by revelation. Vision is a revelation of what God is doing. So it's wrapped up into everything I do. And I really value relationships. I want to develop teams. I love developing people. I love partnering with people and building things. So this is everything that I'm about. And I am called by God to be an apostle, who is a founder and all of those things. So this maps out for me my identity, right? And so I want you to be able to have that same kind of a map for yourself. And then there is an influence map. And the influence map, oh, I'm covering up. Oh, look at that. My background.
Yeah, weird.
Isn't that weird? Okay, so you have to think I'm in my office, so I'm gonna stop doing that.
Pay no attention to the woman in front of the curtain.
Exactly. Pay no attention. So on the influence map, from a thinking standpoint, my thinking, my ultimate objective in everything is making a difference. And my objective is, well, my thinking, my thinking, natural kind of thinking pattern is how am I going to make a difference? And my objective is to find a solution. So when I sit here and you tell me, okay, I have this problem, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I create a course, a book, something? How do I help them understand this? How do I create a model? How do I define this process and make it easier? How do I help them understand? That's my teacher, that's everything, but I want to find solutions. My roadblocks. So remember, I talked about fears. And so from an influence standpoint, one of my roadblocks is impatience. Another is procrastination, because I will think about it and think about it and think about it. So Michelle, it takes one to know one. And then I can be a loner. As effervescent as I am, I spend most of my time right here. Then it talks about perceptions, how you are perceived by other people. Just from all the feedback and all the assessments, everything, I am perceived by others as resourceful, as powerful, as eccentric, as action-oriented, as creative. The impact that I make is I empower people, I teach people, I inspire, I communicate, I publish. I'm always publishing. Everybody gonna be a published something by the time I'm done with you. And then my role in groups is I'm the innovator. I'm the one that advances the idea. I'm the one that influences everybody in the group. And my point of influence ultimately is I am a conductor, right? So I learned all of that from assessments. So I'm going to, for Michelle and Jan, I'm going to mail you these for yourself. And what you do is, you can see how I folded them. I actually taped these into one of my flip books. And so I just got to put this back into my current one. And then I just folded up the edges so it fit. So that's why I wanted to give you a big book, so you'd be able to put that in there for yourself and be able to keep track of it and use it as a reference point. Okay. So I'm going to send you an email to send you those, the flip worksheets, the other ones that we're going to work on next week. And then I'm going to send you, just kind of summarize your assignments for this week, like going through your Strengths Finder report, picking out information, writing a bio for yourself. And then the other thing I want you to do, I'm going to challenge you for the next 7 days, starting tomorrow. I'm going to challenge you to write down everything that you do for 24 hours a day for 7 days straight. Do you know why I want you to do that?
To get in the habit of using your flip book.
What else?
How much time we're wasting.
Hello, ding, 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 ding. Because there we go. That's it. You're going to be shocked. And when you do it, you're going to be so aware, and you're going to be holding yourself accountable. So you're going to get more done because you're going to be paying attention to what you are doing. Now, it's okay if you do nothing, but you got to write it down. Right? You say, I watch Netflix. You got to write down that you binged on Netflix. And the way I do it is I don't write. Let me show you. Let me see if I can find a sheet that you might be able to see in here. So like, I'm notorious for working all night. It's really bad. So like here, this particular day, August 11th of 2018, it looks like I must have stayed up all night the day before because I slept till 11 o'clock. So let me see. Oh, you know what? It's disappearing. There we go. Can you see that? So like,
Kind of.
I slept from, looks like I went to bed at 1:30 in the morning and I slept until 11. So I just took a diagonal line and drew it from 1:30 in the morning and just wrote sleep on it. But then I would write something very specific. Let me see if I can get you a visual. I'll send you maybe I'm gonna take a picture of something so you can see a sample page, something I've done. But I literally will write from morning to night. So everything should have something written in it. So whether it, like I worked on a friend's funeral program from 6 o'clock to 9:30. So I just wrote Patricia's funeral program and drew a line, and that was it. Okay. But like when I wash the dishes, I write dishes, 15 minutes. And you can round up and round. It doesn't have to be that example. I see Michelle laughing. What you laughing at?
Talking about the dishes.
Well, see, we don't have a dishwasher. Our house is old. So I literally had to wash dishes. So that's like, I'm always writing that down. But okay, so how does that sound, you guys?
One question.
Yes, ma'am.
So our bio, we're writing in our book.
You can use your book to write that. Yep. Use it, like use one of your journal sheets and just like take the words out that you like and just use it as a, to scribble it on, write your thoughts and organize it. And then you can take that information and type it if you want, like whatever works, but yes, use your book. And in order for your flip book to be useful, you have to have it with you at all times. It needs to be an extension of your arm.
Okay.
How does that sound? I always feel like I'm just shocking your system and you're so quiet.
It's bedtime.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. So I appreciate you guys letting me go over. My goal every week is going to be, an hour and a half if you allow. We can go longer if you need. It doesn't bother me, but I'm going to try to keep it, together. But so today's the first day I wanted to go through a number of different things, but so you understand the foundation of what we're doing. Okay. If you have questions in between, feel free to email me, text me. Okay.
Got it. Thank you very much.
How you feel?
There's a lot of information, but it's good.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be making it plain, making it vivid. It's a process. So we're going to keep going over all these little pieces, right? So that you start to make the connections and they start making sense for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Gwen.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Night.